All right, Mark, you went through the last head coaching change for the Baltimore Ravens from
Yeah,
Ryan Billick to John Harbaugh. I
yeah.
want to know, first of all, you saw Harbaugh dancing. You saw these coaches, the assistants dancing in the locker room. What did you think of that?
Yeah.
Was Harbaugh doing that the first, you got 2 seasons with him, those 2 seasons that you were with Harbaugh in Baltimore. And what was the early impression when you guys go from one head coach to another?
Mhm.
What were your early thoughts of John Harbaugh when he first came in and took over
Oh,
before he even got hired? When you guys heard the rumblings, what were your initial thoughts with him coming in here?
yeah. First of all, I actually enjoyed Coach Billick because he was like at that time. I mean, obviously he had all of his success for them. He was established, and we had a veteran team, and so the way he treated me as a rookie was basically like a vet, and I appreciate that because going into it, I'm coming from Oklahoma where I was a leader, a grinder. I did all the extra work and made sure the guys went out and ran extra routes, or we did extra kit, whatever it was. And so going to the NFL was just like, oh yeah, this is my backyard. This is my place. It's easy money. And so with Billy, he kind of let you, have your space and do what you do as a pro, which I appreciated. Then when we made the switch, Harbaugh was a little different approach to dealing with us. And although we had a veteran team, Harbaugh wanted to put his foot down and make his stance. And it started off. It actually started off rocky. Training camp. I think, shoot, the players had a. I mean, we was standing up. We were about to march, probably like 3 days into camp. Like, nah, it ain't going. We can't be doing it like this, coach. It don't work like that. That ain't what we used to. And he came back, and we just went toe to toe. But out of that friction, basically, we was able to communicate and get to a place where it was like, you don't have to treat us like college kids or kids at all, and vice versa. We're going to respect what you want to do and how you want to build this team and where we want to go at the same time. And that after that, there was, of course, a lot of growing pains and all that happened, but what came from it, I thought was very, very positive. Coach and the leaders and other guys have been able to communicate and get on the same page and put a plan together that worked for everybody. And obviously, in those first 3 years that I was with them, I think we went to the playoffs a couple different times in a AFC Championship game, and so that was a really cool experience to have. But a lot of it came from that initial conflict that we had in the beginning, where it was like, nah, nah, we ain't in college no more, man. You ain't supposed to be running us like that. Like that ain't what it is. And
That's
it's like, oh, we're gonna grind. And
That's interesting to hear, Mark, honestly, because for him, it was kind of uncharted territory, uncharted waters for him being a head coach for the first time. And for you guys going through the coaching transition, that changed. So I'm sure there was a little feeling out on both sides. Like he was trying to feel you guys out, trying to figure out like what to say, what to do, how to get the best out of you guys. And you guys were trying to probably get the best out of him as well. It's like the iron sharpens iron mentality.
yeah, everybody wants to win the Super Bowl. I
Yeah.
mean, there wasn't no mistake about that. And then obviously, with the leaders that we had, JOs and Ed and Ray and all those guys, like it was all about Super Bowl. And we just, had two different views of how to get there.
Yeah, and so with that, I mean, there are a lot of strong veteran presences in that locker room, 1000%. So, Mark, I don't know if you've seen the videos of John Harbaugh after some of these recent games of him just going crazy and dancing in the locker rooms. Would that have ever happened in your locker rooms when he was first starting out?
No, he was so serious, man. It's kind of like Bob Stoops and Norman too. Like it was into like every the world was on his shoulders, and he couldn't raise up. Like he couldn't raise up to do any move, and everything was business, and we had to be locked in, and we had to take care of our business. This Harbaugh is amazing and so fun to watch. And I'm so happy for him and his family. And then obviously, what that does to the locker room and the whole building as a whole, because that's not only after a game. And so I also know like his personality what he is ridiculously personable. He cares, deeply about each guy as much as he can. And he takes that very serious. And he, a big part of the meshing and the fiber of what makes each team, the team, is that Harbaugh takes an assertive effort to make sure that he knows each guy. Like he really does, which is really cool.
How would you rate his dance moves? Have you seen them? Are they good?
Oh, they're like a solid. Actually, they're solid 10. Like white boy
All
waist.
right.
I think like that.
White boy waist.
It's about energy anyway. If you bring the energy,
all of it.
It's all about the energy. Some people aren't, talented in that way.
No.
I can't. I've been told I think I'm a good dancer, but then I've been told I'm not a good dancer, but I have great energy, and I can live with that.
Put it like this: if Chris Brown was dancing there and Harbaugh was dancing right there, I bet there'd be more cameras on Harbaugh.
I agree.
Without a doubt. He was definitely the more I don't know if it was a better dancer, but it was more entertaining. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
1,000%.
So, Mark, when John kind of came in, this is what I'm kind of just thought about this. Is that when the conditioning tests kind of changed? Because I know the Ravens historically have a very tough conditioning test that not a lot of players are fond of. Is that kind of is that when it started? Did Billick also have a tough one?
No, Billick's was pretty easy. I mean, it was like a 300-yard shuttle. I think 2 300-yard shuttles at 25 yards, back and forth. I mean, I just playing basketball, I passed that. Then Harbaugh, he wanted to put his little spin on it and make it a little longer. And the time was a little faster. So, yes, it was more difficult.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of things about the conditioning test.
Yeah.
Not a lot of great things.
Training camp too. So training camp, we went live. We would go live in both practices. That was extremely rare. Like,
oh wow,
he would never do that. Like he would never do that.
Well, the Ravens they moved some stuff around, right? With the training camp practices, they moved the time where there was less heat in the day and figuring stuff out because they used to be in the afternoons, if I'm not mistaken, or they moved it.
Yeah.
Because that heat can get crazy in training camp.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, nowadays with the rules and the player safeties in place, and it's pretty cake, bro. Like in comparison, it's cake. And I
think the rules too. You kind of mentioned it where you mentioned you'd love to be a wide receiver today. All these rules are favoring the offense. You can't get hit over the middle. All these unsportsmanlike and player safety stuff. I mean, you had to worry as a receiver when you were playing about getting cracked over the middle, and there was no penalty for that. You just move on and play the next down.
Exactly. Like nobody flinches or bats an eye. It was just either it was a good hit or it wasn't.